Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I used to think I was good at reading people. 6 years with Stephanie taught me I wasn't half as observant as I believed. Or maybe I'd just gotten comfortable, too comfortable. Our routine was simple. I worked long hours in commercial finance, she handled marketing for a local firm, and our evenings usually ended with takeout and some half-watched show on the couch. Familiar, predictable, safe. Then things shifted, slowly at first. Her phone started living face down on every surface. She took work calls in the hallway. She came home late and didn't bother offering excuses that made sense. When I asked if something was wrong, she'd smile, kiss me too quickly, and say, "You worry too much, Dylan." She wasn't angry, just absent. It wasn't only at home. When we visited my parents 2 months before everything blew up, the atmosphere felt off. My dad, Richard, barely looked at Stephanie, and she kept adjusting her hair like she was being watched. My mom chatted like nothing was wrong, but even she paused when Stephanie and Richard wouldn't make eye contact. I noticed it, but I pushed it away. Families have weird days. People get awkward. No big deal. Except it became a big deal. Stephanie grew quieter after that visit. She started dressing nicer for late meetings. I'm not the jealous type, never have been. But even I had to admit something was brewing under the surface. I wasn't suspicious yet, just uneasy. One Thursday night, out of nowhere, she suggested we go out for dinner. Not takeout, not leftovers, an actual reservation. "We should talk," she said, tying her hair up without looking at me. "Someplace neutral." Neutral. That was an odd word for a married couple. Still, I agreed. We drove to a quiet steakhouse she liked. Dim lights, white tablecloths, soft jazz playing like it was trying too hard to be classy. She wasn't fidgeting. She wasn't nervous. She was prepared. That bothered me more than anything. When the waiter walked away after taking our order, Stephanie folded her hands and exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for months. "Dylan," she said softly, "I need to tell you something." And I swear, something inside me already knew this dinner wasn't about saving anything. I nodded and leaned back, letting her speak first. She didn't blink. "I slept with your dad last night." Just like that, like she was telling me we were out of milk. I didn't move, didn't flinch. My pulse didn't even change. I looked down at the table. The steak knife next to my hand caught a sliver of light and glinted like it was listening too. The silence dragged for 5 seconds, maybe 6. Then I looked her in the eye and said, "Congratulations." She blinked like she didn't hear me right. I picked up my glass of whiskey and took a slow sip. The jazz behind us kept playing, like the room didn't understand what had just happened. "Dylan," she started, but I cut her off. "Stephanie, you didn't come here to talk. You came here to confess. You wanted the tablecloth and the candles to dress it up. Like ambiance makes it less disgusting." She pressed her lips together. I could tell she thought she had more time, more space to explain, but she'd already used it all. "You're not angry?" she asked, voice too calm for what she just admitted. "Oh, I'm something," I said, setting the glass down. "But it's not anger. Not anymore." She looked down. "It just happened." "Last night?" She didn't answer right away. Her mouth opened, then closed again. That pause told me everything. I let out a low laugh. "So it wasn't just last night." Her eyes started to shine, but no tears fell yet. Probably saving those for later. "I didn't know how to tell you." "You didn't. You chose where to tell me." I flagged the waiter down. "Check, please. We won't be staying for dinner." Stephanie reached out across the table, fingers twitching like she might try to touch me. I didn't move. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't be," I said, getting up. "This makes things a hell of a lot clearer." The waiter returned with the check. I paid in cash, didn't wait for change. Stephanie stayed seated as I walked out. I didn't look back once. I got home 10 minutes before she did. I didn't waste time. Walked straight to the bedroom, grabbed the black duffel from the top shelf, and started packing. Just essentials: clothes, charger, passport, documents. Everything else could rot. Stephanie got back about 10 minutes after I did, probably in a cab or something. I was already logged into our joint accounts by then. Savings, checking, the investment portfolio we built over 4 years. I moved every cent I contributed into accounts under my name only. Legal, clean, and traceable. I'd been the one funding everything anyway. She'd been floating on my back. She walked in while I was zipping up the duffel. "Dylan, please." I didn't answer. She took a step closer. "I know you're hurt. I didn't mean for it to come out that way." "No," I said, looking her dead in the eyes. "You meant every part of it. You just didn't expect me to walk away without putting on a show." Her mouth opened, then closed. "I transferred the accounts," I said flatly. "Everything that was mine is now protected. Don't bother trying to access them." Her voice shook. "You're just leaving?" I slung the bag over my shoulder. "No, I'm disappearing." "Where will you go?" "Doesn't matter. You made your choice. I'm making mine." She stepped in front of the door, trying to block me. "You can't just vanish." I looked at her like she was a stranger. "I'm not disappearing because I'm weak. I'm doing it because I'm done." Stephanie's lip trembled. "It was a mistake, a horrible one." "No," I said. "Mistakes are accidents. You made a decision. More than once, I'm guessing." She looked like she wanted to explain, to unpack some long emotional excuse about Richard being there when I wasn't, about needing something, whatever. But I didn't give her the time. I walked past her. She didn't follow. In the driveway, I started the car and pulled out into the street like I was headed to the store. She didn't know it yet, but I wasn't coming back. The first call came from Richard the next morning. I let it ring. Then came the second. Then a text. "We need to talk, son. It's not what it seems." Didn't reply. Didn't plan to. Over the next 2 days, the calls didn't stop. Blocked numbers, voicemails, apologies wrapped in cowardice. He used to be my father. Now, he was just a man I'd never trust again. Stephanie texted too. Paragraphs, begging. One said, "You don't understand the full story." Another said, "Please talk to me before you make any decisions." Too late. I'd already made them. On day 3, I checked into a month-to-month furnished rental 2 cities over. Simple place. No history in the walls. No memory soaked into the sheets. By the end of the week, the ripple hit home. My cousin Nathan called from back in town. "Dylan, I don't know how to say this, but your mom found out. It's bad." I rubbed my eyes. "How?" "She overheard a call. Richard wasn't careful. She's filing, man. For divorce. 32 years, and she's done." I didn't say anything for a long beat. Nathan lowered his voice. "You okay?" "I will be." "I'm sorry, man. You didn't do it." That night, my mom called. I answered. "Dylan, it's me," she said. I closed my eyes. "Hey." She paused. "I'm so sorry." "You don't need to apologize. I don't even know when it started. I don't care. I'm done with him. That isn't the man I married." I nodded, even though she couldn't see it. "I want you to know I'm proud of how you handled it," she said softly. "You didn't explode. You didn't sink. You just walked." "I had to," I said. "I'm going to be okay too," she added. "Eventually." I believed her. We said goodbye, and for the first time in a week, I slept 8 hours straight. Stephanie shattered one marriage. Richard burned 2. Me? I just stopped answering. The messages didn't stop. Not right away. Stephanie tried every angle. Guilt, nostalgia, begging. She reminded me about the vacation in Tulum, the night we danced barefoot in the kitchen, how we used to plan baby names after 2 glasses of wine. I didn't respond to a single word. She posted vague quotes on social media, hoping I'd see them. Healing starts with honesty. Growth is messy but worth it. None of it was for healing. It was damage control, dressed up in hashtags and borrowed wisdom. Richard went quiet, finally. No more texts, no more calls. Either he'd given up or realized there was nothing he could say that would fix the crater he created. Then came the letter from my mom. Handwritten. No return address. Just my name in clean cursive. Inside was one short line. "I'm sorry. He wasn't this man when I married him." I read it twice, folded it once, slid it into the back of my drawer. I didn't call her. I didn't need to. That note said everything she could have said over the phone, and cleaner. My lawyer, Mara, kept things moving. I told her from day one, no drama, no contact, just finish it. She delivered. Divorce papers were prepped, filed, and delivered to Stephanie's attorney without a single face-to-face. That silence was my oxygen. No arguing, no scenes, just the quiet dismantling of a house of lies. One evening, I stood on the small balcony of the rental, watching the city lights blink like stars that couldn't decide if they were staying or going. My phone lit up. It was my dad. I stared at the screen. Then I let it ring out. He left a voicemail. His voice cracked in the first 10 seconds. I didn't listen past that. Deleted it before it finished downloading. You don't get to torch your life and then cry over the ashes. Especially not when you lit the match in my home. Stephanie showed up 3 weeks later. I was walking back to my building after grabbing coffee when I saw her by the front entrance, dressed down, hoodie pulled up, no makeup, like she thought looking wrecked might soften what she did. "Dylan," she said, stepping forward. I didn't stop walking, just moved around her. "Please," she said, following me. "Just 2 minutes." I turned at the door. "You don't need 2 minutes. You need a time machine." She flinched. I know I don't deserve to ask you anything, but I'm begging. Can we just talk like humans?" I opened the door to the building, held it for half a second. She took it as a yes and followed me inside. We stood in the empty lobby, cold air humming from the vents. "I don't know what I was thinking," she said, eyes glassy. "I was lost. Your dad was there, and it just—" "Stop." She froze. "Don't say his name. Don't blame being lost. You knew exactly what you were doing." Tears rolled finally. "I thought maybe if I was honest—" I laughed once, cold. "You thought if you confessed over steak and wine, it'd make you noble." She wiped her face. "I ruined everything. I know. But I still love you." "No," I said. "You don't love people you cheat on. And you definitely don't sleep with their father if love is anywhere in the equation." Her shoulders dropped. "I miss you. You miss the version of me that paid for your car, booked your flights, and stayed quiet while you created a second life." She looked up, desperate. "Please, Dylan, don't end us like this." "There is no us, Stephanie. You ended that the moment you turned our family into a punchline." She covered her face and broke down, loud, messy, shaking. I let it happen. And when she was done, when she stood in front of me trembling and empty, I stepped closer and said quietly, "You didn't break me. You freed me." She didn't respond. I walked past her, up the stairs, and never looked back. The final paperwork came through on a Friday. No courtrooms, no depositions, no cameras. Just clean signatures, sealed envelopes, and a quiet email from Mara. "Divorce finalized. No disputes. You're free." I sat in the silence of my apartment and read that line 3 times. It didn't feel like victory. It felt like air returning to a room that had been sealed shut for too long. That same afternoon, I closed the last shared account and canceled the storage unit she'd been using, the one I was still paying for. No note, no announcement, just disappearance, clean and deliberate. Stephanie texted one more time the next night. "I never meant to lose you." I looked at it for a moment, then blocked her number and deleted the thread. No rage, no satisfaction, just silence, returned in kind. Richard never contacted me again. Maybe he figured out that some damage can't be smoothed over with fatherly apologies and awkward calls. Or maybe he knew I wasn't his son anymore. Not after that. 3 weeks later, I drove out to the coast. The sky was bruised with clouds, the water calm. I walked along the shore for an hour with no music, no calls, no noise, just wind and waves. That was the first time in years I didn't think about fixing anything. That night, I got a letter. No return address. But I recognized the handwriting immediately. It was from my mom. Inside, a small note folded neatly. "I filed the divorce. I'm starting over too. Thank you for handling this like a man, not a victim." I kept that letter. Still have it. Back at the apartment, I poured a glass of bourbon, opened the window, and sat in the quiet. My phone lit up. Just a calendar notification. Anniversary dinner. One I forgot to delete. I swiped it away. No reaction, no pain, just stillness. I didn't win anything. I just stopped playing a game I never agreed to. She asked for honesty. I gave her silence. And that was louder than anything I could have said. Thank you for watching.